Tonight on Taskforce Geek, we're going to be talking Christopher Nolan's sci-fi spy film Tenet and how it's doing at the box office. We'll also look at Ray Fisher's allegations of misconduct on the set of Justice League. We may have time to talk about the cancellation of the Venture Brothers. I sure hope so. And we'll be talking with our guest, comic writer Stonie Williams, and that's coming up now. All right, welcome to Task Force Geek. My name is Dirk Hooper, and today I am joined by Scott.
Howdy!
And Shawn. What was that? And our guest is Stonie. He's a comic writer, and we're going to be talking about his new comic, Villainous, in our third segment. So welcome, everyone. All the stories or questions that we're talking about tonight were shared on the Task Force Geek Facebook group. I should have that pulled up here. Here it comes. Here it comes. It's coming.
Yay.
There it is. There's the core of space for Task Force Geek. Also, we have the Facebook group here. It's coming. There it is. We are broadcasting live from my Facebook account. There it is. Wait, nope. There it is. And also from Twitch. So we're getting all of the youngsters on Twitch, right?
That's right. All the cool kids.
Is it okay to say youngsters?
Sure it is. They're younger than us.
On our YouTube page, most of the people who are watching, I've seen the metrics, most of the people who are watching this are younger than us, which is pretty cool. Anyway, there's our YouTube page. Before we get started tonight, let's talk a little bit about Shawn doing some Twitch broadcasting. Do you want to talk about that for just a second?
So far, I've just been experimenting on doing some gaming on Twitch or streaming some Task Force Geek Play. I'm playing with that title.
Yep.
Just seeing what all I can do and how easy it would be, and hopefully in the future, if you guys want to watch us play some games and be stupid old men and chime in and make us feel even older, feel free.
Yeah, good stuff. We have our own Twitch channel. We're thinking about doing some streaming. You guys want to see us stream while we play some video games?
Of course they do.
Tell us what you want to see us do.
Whatever.
Yeah, we're definitely both Shawn and I are doing. We're all doing some work currently, so it's possible that we could hop on there and do some live drawing, which is maybe a little bit more up our alley. All right. Wait a minute. Before we get started here, let's see what we got here. Jeree says, welcome to the broadcast, Stonie.
Hey.
Look at that. She's welcoming our guests. And Marianne says, hey, she's not late this time.
Woohoo.
You're right on time, Marianne. All right.
It's ladies' night.
Hey, that's
Get it?
That's a good deal. All right. Here's our first segment. All right, Tenet came out this weekend, and two of us saw it. Am I correct? Scott and Stonie, you guys did not see that, correct?
No way, man.
All right, our intel was correct. So what I'm going to do is to start off with, we're going to talk a little. We're not going to spoil anything. We're just going to give general impressions of Tenet, and so I'm going to Shawn first for that.
My initial impression was that it was kind of a sci-fi James Bond. It was a lot of fun. It was a little confusing. It's definitely a film that you want to watch probably at least a couple of times just to get all the references and whatnot. But yeah, it was a good movie. It was a fun movie. I still am not 100% on Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne, but I will reserve my opinion until I see a trailer.
He was definitely not playing Bruce Wayne in that show.
No, he was not.
So Pattinson's in Tenet as well?
He is. It's
okay.
It's the year of Pattinson.
I need you, since I haven't seen it, can you knuckleheads? I understand, like, you watch a movie and you loved it so much, you can't wait to go back. Like.
Stonie, do you know who that is?
No, I don't know her.
You're disavowing?
Hi, Mom.
So get you in trouble around Thanksgiving.
Everybody I know that's seen Tenet says I had to go watch it again to understand it.
Yep.
So
I mean,
my
not
problem
necessarily.
with this is like, why? I mean,
Not
the joys
necessarily.
of seeing a movie is because you love it, not to understand it.
No. You're already yelling, and that doesn't need to happen. Here's what's going on. It is a very it's a very mindful film. There's a lot of things going on, science fiction wise. There's a lot of detail to it. Now, is it hard to follow? No, it was not hard to follow. I grasped everything about the movie, all the loops, all the ins and outs, everything that was going on. I got it. I understood it completely. The thing is, there were a lot of elements to the film that would occur, say, in the early part of the film, and then would loop around towards, various places in the film. So whenever I say that you should see it multiple times, it's just to pick up all of those little nuances that happened, and to see how, after how everything ends, how that was affected, or how that was shown throughout the movie. It's a really well done movie. I mean, I'm a big Nolan fan anyway, but it was really well done, really interestingly shot and choreographed. It's definitely a movie to catch. If you don't catch it in the theater, you catch it either streaming or on Blu-ray or whatever. Cool, but it was definitely one to watch. It was a good movie. It was very, very good movie.
Okay, that's fair.
All right, I also saw Tenet over the weekend, and I enjoyed it a lot. But I get what people don't like about it. Typically, I like the things that people hate, like the fact that you couldn't hear all the dialogue at all times, that there is a texture that he puts in there with sound effects and music that prevents you from being able to follow everything that's going on at all time. You have to realize that that is an artistic choice, and realize why that he's doing that. Tenet is very much a puzzle film. If you get into figuring out puzzles, then you're going to enjoy the film. If you want everything laid before you, you are going to be very frustrated with this film, because it does not do that. I have seen it twice too, to Gary's point earlier. And I didn't have to see it twice, but I wanted to, because I wanted to pick up on some of the stuff. And it's the type of film that I could probably watch many, many more times in addition to that. And again, with that said, I understand some people like movies that are pretty much right straight in your face, very easy to follow. And there's nothing wrong with that. For those who do like a little bit of a puzzle, this is it. And that's one of the things that I liked about it.
So you want to watch it multiple times.
I want to watch it multiple times. It's not required by law.
So it's like What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
I understood. It is
like
not like What's Eating Gilbert Grape. It's nothing like that at all.
That's a movie I'd like to see.
I saw that once, and I was done with it.
That's a great movie.
Life.
That is a great movie.
For life. I'm done with Gilbert Grape.
All right.
I think it's one of my favorite Nolan films, and I know that a lot of people don't agree with that, and they're wrong.
Oh.
Well,
so
I don't necessarily agree with that, but
I know a lot of people don't. That's okay.
It was good. It was very good. I still think that Inception is the crown jewel of his so far.
And Robert Pattinson was really good in it, by the way.
He was actually the entire cast.
He was super good in it.
The entire cast was excellent. Everybody, even I just forgot his name. Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, who I never would have known was in it if Shawn hadn't said, "Isn't that Aaron Taylor Johnson or whatever his name is?"
He was excellent. I know a lot of people don't give him a whole lot of credit because he was Quicksilver in the X-Men movie, or excuse me, in the Avengers movie,
Right.
And then, of course, he was in Godzilla. Oh, my gosh. And he was in Kick-Ass. No one really gives him a whole lot of credit, but he really is a good actor. And he was
nearly unrecognizable in this film because of his beard and because of his voice.
And his accent. He was excellent. And it's that I think really makes an actor.
I'd like to see more of him, actually. He was pretty pretty cool.
His character was pretty awesome. I too, I would love to have seen more of that character, but who knows? Maybe there'll be a sequel.
Let's get some comments out. Gary says Nolan doesn't dumb down his movies. Yeah, that's exactly it. If you like your dumbed down stuff, it's out there. Oh boy, is it out there! If you want to go to a film, be challenged a little bit, he gives you that, and I appreciate it. Ken says he had to watch Fight Club twice. That's another film that's like that. Like you watch Fight Club the second time, the little twist at the end, you start to, you can pick up stuff when you watch it again. That's exactly the way it is with Tenet. Not required, but it's pretty cool.
Okay,
to look
that's
at
fine as long as it's not required. Because what I hate, like with starting to read like new comics, I heard this all the time at the shop. Well, just give it about 3 or 4 issues. It's like, you want me to invest like $25 in 6 months of my life before I decide if I like issue number 1? You need to take me by the horn then. So
I had a friend who wanted me to try martinis. He was real big into martinis. And
martini tangent.
I had one, and I said, "This is the most disgusting drink I've ever had." And he's like, "Well, you need to have about 3 or 4 before you really appreciate it." And I'm like,
to build up an appreciation.
pretty much, if it goes in my face and I don't like it, I'm not putting more in my face.
Okay, that's all I want to know, is that Tenet is so good, I'll want to see it again, not I have to go see it again.
Right.
No, you don't have to go see it. You should be able to pick it up and follow it without any problem.
Okay, that's good news then.
But there are elements of it that you'll be in the movie or after the movie going, oh yeah, when this happened, I really would have liked to have seen how that came about or how this came about, or I mean, you'll understand if you see it.
Hello to Mike, who says if you want to see straightforward films, see J.J. Abrams.
Yeah,
he does give you those. Gary, apparently he likes Tenet as much as I do.
Yeah, I said he likes as much as you. So okay.
But I also understand why it's not for everyone. Look, people didn't like Dunkirk for much the same reason, because of the soundtrack and because of
and I loved Dunkirk.
The textural noise that he has in that, and there are moments where you can't hear what people are saying.
My mother loved
But
Dunkirk.
You have to realize that's very much. It's not like it was an oversight. Like, oh damn, I should have done a little bit better on the sound mixing. It's very much by design.
All right.
I don't know.
Man.
Ken, what do you? What? Why are you saying my name?
He's questioning why you're even with us today.
Say my name.
Stoney
Ken,
has
say my name.
And he wants Stoney to take over.
Are you into those drinks? Am I into martinis? No, I'm out on martinis. I'm out on that. Dunkirk was well done. All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to talk about the box office. And with that, I'm going to read a little bit to set us up. After months of delays, Christopher Nolan's sci-fi epic Tenet finally arrived in U.S. theaters and generated $20.2 million over the Labor Day weekend. Ticket sales, though difficult to dissect, given the uncharted waters of the period that we're in, are roughly in line with expectations for a new release during a pandemic. The espionage thriller is already nearing the $150 million mark globally, thanks to a stronger showing at the international box office. Overseas, Tenet earned another $78.3 million this weekend, bringing its worldwide haul to $146.2 million. And for those of you who are playing at home, it took them about $200 million to produce this movie. So they are $50 million off of that number right now. So my question and I'm going to Scott first, is do you think they are happy? Do you think the studio or people in general who watch this stuff, the people are going to be releasing films, do you think they're going to be happy with those numbers?
I think it probably depends on what type of movie. I think you're going to have to look at everything. I mean, like, didn't Mulan just release this weekend or something?
Yes, it did. And we don't have numbers for that.
So I think the numbers for like Bill and Ted's, our last guest last week said, he rented the Bill and Ted movie, and then the Mulan stuff,
Bill and Ted's did not do well.
Right. So
I
think you're going to have to try to compare some apples to apples, maybe something on the level that had the most anticipation, like the Tenet movie. And I don't know if anything compares to that, because I know that they've been hyping this forever.
No, it's huge. That's a huge film.
I would say something like if they did, direct release to the Black Widow or something like that, we might have something more to compare. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about what the movie theaters need and what the movie studios need to really give you an answer. Of course, they want more money, and I really don't have an answer for you.
Yeah, I mean, much like the New Mutants last week, this is almost like the canary in the coal mine. I mean, are how much do you want to lose by releasing your movie right now? It's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than this. I mean, anything, they could have put out another Avengers movie or something during that would have been bigger. Maybe a Star Wars movie, although that's questionable right now. So, as far as summer blockbusters go, Tenet is up there. And so anyway, that's kind of what you can expect from a summer blockbuster at this, this week. Next week could be different. Stonie, we're going to go to you. What do you think about? Do you think that the people who are putting out these movies, do you think they're going to be happy with these sort of numbers?
No, because I expected them. I think they expected bigger numbers, and they at least want to break even, right? And you said they were 50 million below that.
Yep, they're 50 shy, but it's the first week.
Well, I mean, if they can at least break even, then they might be happy. But they want to make money, and I don't think they're happy unless they do that. So,
yeah, Shawn, what do you think?
I think this entire year is a wash, and
for sure.
the studios are just the studios are just going to be like, whatever we can get out of this, great. I think that the numbers that Tenet pulled, I think they will be happy with, expecting not a whole lot from the low turnout at most theaters across the country, worldwide, because I promise if everything was in full swing when this got released, it based on the numbers that it has received, I would say that this would have been at least 250 million opening. But again, hi Mom.
Hello, Betty.
You liked Dunkirk, Ma.
Okay, I didn't understand what she was saying, but you got her.
But I think the numbers for this, again, if everything were as it should have at this point last year, it would have easily have done, I think, at least 250 opening weekend. It would have opened probably a couple of days early, and then it would have had that word of mouth. It would have done gangbusters over the weekend.
Yep.
I think it would have done excellent. So I think the studios are going to be okay with how it's opening. They're not going to be excited because obviously a $200 million movie, you assume that with advertising and whatnot, they need to break at least 400 million to make a profit.
Yeah,
and obviously
3 times they say.
Obviously that's not happening here.
Also though, I mean, this is the only movie out, right? I know it said it's #1 at the box office. It's like, well, hell, what else is out besides?
There are a few things out.
I was going to say there's several movies that are out. There's just nothing else is
by far the biggest. Bill and Ted's is out. New Mutants is out. They have the thing with Russell Crowe, where he's a crazy
Unhinged.
Person. Unhinged. There you go. They have that out, and there's some smaller movies.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that are just not getting the advertisement because of the way the world is.
It sucks
right
up
now.
all the air.
These are basic films that are just being put in the theater to give people an alternative, or just something to watch, something to get out of the house to go see. I can't see that the theaters are expecting anything this year, anything big to happen. They're still kind of hedging their bets as far as whether or not the current state of events is going to have a resurgence in the fall or in the winter. And so they're just kind of playing this by ear right now, just to kind of judge and see how everything's going to play out.
Go ahead, Stonie.
What did the movie theaters around you guys look like before this round of movies, because I know the local one here was showing E.T. and Back to the Future and Uncle Buck.
You mean going right? Empire Strikes Back was another one that was playing. They're pretty dead. I mean, we go to a place called the Warren in Moore. Typically our group goes out on Friday night and goes to see movies. And before this happened back, like let's say prior to March, it's a huge theater and the parking lot was filled to the end of it. I mean, it's like 2 or 3 football fields filled with cars almost every night. I mean, it's like insanely packed. And now it's at about, let's say, a third capacity. Maybe less.
I would say a third. We drove by there and I was like, man, I thought the theater would be more full with Tenet coming out. I thought more people would get out. I thought this is the movie that's going to get people out.
The theater was about 1/3 full.
Okay.
Yep. Ken is asking, do theaters get any of the box office? With Tenet, they said that they were pushing for 70%. So the studio gets 70% and the theater gets 30%. That's not always typical. It's usually about 50 or 60%.
I was going to say, what you have to understand is, depending on the movie, the theater has to pay a certain amount. Like whenever Star Wars came out, they had to pay out the nose to get Star Wars in their theaters. The theaters know that they have to have Star Wars, otherwise they're not going to have anybody come to their theater. So they're willing to take the loss on Star Wars because they don't make any money on tickets. I don't care what anybody tells you. They make no money on tickets.
It's about a push.
That's why you're paying, $89 for a box of popcorn and $75 for a tankard of
That's
soda.
where they make their money.
To get a free refill on that tankard.
Kennedy says, is that Russell Crowe Mel Gibson biopic? Mike's spicy.
Maybe. He's calmed down quite a bit. Mel.
Ken is talking about insurance companies. Look, if Shawn says that they're basically ready to write off the rest of the year, then I guess that my question to all of you is, are we going to see Wonder Woman this year, or James Bond, or what else have we got coming
Black Widow,
or
I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's really
those are all on the list coming.
I think all the stuff from the mouse, it all depends on like how Mulan does. I mean, I could be wrong on that.
Mulan is not in the theaters.
Scarlet. Black Widow it's going to hit the theaters. In November? I don't think it's. Well, that's November something. I don't remember, but the
next big film is Wonder Woman on October 2nd.
I think it'll hit. I think it'll be in the. At this point, they're going to start releasing movies in the theater. Okay. The only way that we are going to not see these movies is if there's another lockdown, and I doubt that that'll happen, because as much rioting is going on in the streets now, it'll probably be twice as bad, if not threefold. So I don't see any of that happening from this point on. There's going to be, they're going to release they're going to release Black Widow. They're going to release Wonder Woman. They're going to release, what's the other one? There was another, James Bond, definitely James Bond.
Yeah, they've been holding off on that for a while. By the way, they did have a teaser for a trailer for Dune, speaking of Dune, that we got to see. And
tomorrow.
Looks pretty good, folks. If you haven't seen it.
The trailer comes out tomorrow.
It's surprisingly similar to the early 80s version, actually. I mean, it's clear that they're not going off on some wild tangent, although neither did the early 80s movie. All right, we are going to move on to our next subject, if I can get to the little doodad here. All right, Warner Media issued a statement Friday night regarding the third-party investigation into Justice League actor Ray Fisher's claim, he played Cyborg, claims that reshoots director Josh Whedon ran a toxic, hostile set, and that former DC Films co-chairs Jeff Johns and John Berg enabled the alleged behavior. In response to all of this, here is Warner's statement, a little bit of Warner's statement. In July, Ray Fisher's representatives asked DC Film president Walter Hamada to talk to Mr. Fisher about his concerns during the production of Justice League. The two had previously spoken when Mr. Hamada asked him to reprise his role as Cyborg in Warner Brothers' upcoming Flash movie, very interesting, together with other members of the Justice League. In their July conversation, Mr. Fisher recounted disagreements he'd had with the film's creative team regarding his portrayal of Cyborg and complained that his suggested script revisions were not adopted. Mr. Hamada explained that creative differences are a normal part of the production process and that a film's writer-director ultimately has to be in charge of these matters. Notably, Mr. Hamada also told Mr. Fisher that he would elevate his concerns to Warner Media so that they could conduct an investigation. At no time did Mr. Hamada ever throw anyone under the bus, as Mr. Fisher has falsely claimed, or rendered any judgment about the Justice League production, in which Mr. Hamada had no involvement since filming occurred before Hamada had that job. So, my question, first to Shawn, is who, if anyone, do you think is in the wrong here?
Well, based on some of the stuff that I've read about Joss Whedon's most recent conflicts outside of the film, it wouldn't shock me that Whedon had created kind of a salty work environment. That doesn't surprise me at all. As far as who's in the wrong, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know.
You don't have to pick sides. I just want to get kind of your opinion, your take on.
I don't know that much about Ray Fisher, so I can't really judge him necessarily as far as his actions, I should say. There are other actors that, it's a cycle, and you can almost pick or guess that, oh, there's a problem on this movie set. Oh, well, I'm sure it had to do with such and such because they have a history of that.
Sure.
And I don't really know anything about Ray Fisher, so I can't really judge his participation in this. But overall, it wouldn't shock me to find out that it was on Warner Brothers' side. There was a lot of confusion amongst everybody whenever Zack Snyder had to take his leave. There was a lot of turmoil as far as getting somebody else in there. Joss Whedon was the golden boy of nerd Hollywood there for quite a while. So how could anything be wrong with Joss Whedon doing any type of work or anything? So I think there's definitely some fault on the side of Warner Brothers in all that, but overall it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, Scott, we're gonna go to you.
I don't have enough of the story. Somebody has a problem with somebody, and somebody was angry at somebody else.
Right.
This article told me nothing except somebody's mad, and we don't know what about, or for what reason,
right,
or who it is exactly. And then somebody, oh my gosh, feels like a bunch of troopers complaining about, like Darth Vader was grumpy today, and they don't want to talk about it, but they want to complain to HR. I don't know enough to care at this point.
Darth Vader's a pretty bad boss.
For sure. And I'm just saying I don't know enough to care. I don't know if this is anybody's fault, so I don't care. This is like just Hollywood. This is like people whispering at work or something. I don't care.
I got you. Stonie, we're going to you.
So I'm actually a huge Joss Whedon fan. And I struggle with this a lot because I want to believe Ray on the outset. I really do. But there's a lot of things about this that don't add up to me. The fact that he's the only one saying anything right now. I mean, you've got some pretty aggressive actors in on this, like Jason Momoa. Mm-hmm. He doesn't strike me as a type that would keep his mouth shut at this point. Maybe during the press tour, maybe while they're all promoting and they're all under contract. But now, why is everybody keeping their mouth shut now? And then Ray Fisher demanded a third-party investigation, and allegedly Warner Brothers has given that to him. He won't cooperate with the investigators.
Right?
Why? Like,
right?
How does that? Who does that benefit?
Yeah, he's put out.
I mean, this article doesn't tell us enough. This reminds me of let's not forget James Rhodes got replaced because he was grumpy about the part or whatever it was. So
there's currently an investigation.
Terrence Howard, I should say, not James Rhodes.
There's currently an investigation. So yes, making an assumption at this point is useless. There will be elements that will come out, and we can go from there. Who knows, other than the people that were on set. And I agree. Sure. If there was something truly horrendous, I think Jason Momoa would be the first one to say no. He doesn't seem to kowtow to anything other than his wife. So rock on.
Amen.
I'm willing to reserve all judgment until the investigation is done and we find out that Ray need to shut up.
Sure, and I'd like to say in Ray's defense, like, there has been issues with Joss Whedon in the past, and he can be aggressive.
Stuff is coming out there. He's not having a good moment.
Right.
Is he about to get the Ellen treatment?
He's already
currently getting it. Yeah, he's getting it right now. He's right in the middle of it.
Yeah, his ex-wife stuff aside, there was a story from James Marsters about who played Spike on Buffy about Joss's reaction when the producers pressured him to keep Spike in the show, and he turned around and yelled at James and said something to the effect of, "I don't care what they said, you're a dead man," right? And jumped on him about it, was really aggressive about it because he felt very strongly. And so to think that Joss might have toxic moments or whatever on set isn't far-fetched, but there's too many other things about this that don't add up for me. So
I agree.
I think that Ray Fisher is rightly upset about being sidelined in the film. There's no doubt about it. Go look at the film. You know that there was a plan that Snyder had when he created this thing. He planned on the Justice League film focusing on the characters who didn't have their own film out at that point, which would be the Flash, and it would be Cyborg, and it would be some additional stuff with Wonder Woman and Superman and Batman, and we didn't get that. Instead, what we got is a bunch of ha-has, and we got a bunch of action scenes, which apparently Warner Brothers thought was going to be a superior film. So there's no question that Ray has every right to be upset about having his character sidelined in the film. It happened. You go look at the film, and you're going to see the contrast on that when they put out the 4-hour version that Snyder has, which I don't know if that's a complete course correction, but you're going to see what was intended originally with that character, and you can probably see why he is upset about not getting the pole position on that film. Also, I think that actors take their roles very seriously, and sometimes maybe too seriously. And they think, hey, it's my character. I am Cyborg, by God. And Cyborg needs to do these things. And sometimes that's not the way it should be done in a movie. Actors are not the final arbiters of how the movie should be cut or portrayed. Sometimes the actors are right. And sometimes the actors are wrong in this case. So you can understand where an executive on the level of Walter Hamada, who I tend to think is a good executive as far as film executives go, because he has a history of producing stuff, and I don't hear a lot of trash about Walter Hamada. I think that he's trying to assuage the concerns of
What is that
Ray
word?
Fisher.
What's that fancy
Smooth
word?
over. He's trying to smooth over the
Okay.
concerns of
Talk
Ray
down to us,
Fisher.
please. Bourgeois, whatever word you use. Give me a break. You're just trying to sound cool.
And I think that Hamada's trying. I think that Hamada's trying to, do the best that he can in the situation. That's my take on it.
We're gonna push to the next subject. What was that word?
Assuage.
Assuage. That sounds like something you use to wash your dishes. Grab me the assuage and let's get this pan clean.
Mike says that maybe the Russo brothers would have done better with a darker film. Josh was brought in specifically for the purpose of making it a lighter film. Mm-hmm. So some of the critiques that I have about his additions or his subtractions are he was a hired gun there. He did what Warner Brothers asked him to do.
For sure.
So if you're upset, you're not solely upset with Joss. He did what he was told to.
Yeah.
Mike says Warner Brothers wrong on that. Ken wants to see the director's vision of the story. We got 2 director's vision and the salad of the executives getting involved in this thing. So you know what? We're going to move on. Here's
fancy
our next
music
subject.
time. Yeah,
it's fancy. Let's have some fancy music. Hey, let's talk about our guest, Stonie Williams. Let me give you a little background here before we get started. Raised in the back of a comic book store and weaned on sci-fi convention, Stonie Williams is a 35-year-old married. I asked what his age was earlier. It's in his bio. He is a 35-year-old married father of 5 and a self-styled bard. We have a bard in our group as well. He plays guitar and tells stories through script and prose. His latest endeavor, the comic book Villainous, published by Mad Cave Studios, is the publisher's first foray in the superhero genre, and it releases in stores and digitally October 14th. So
can we talk about 5 kids, Stonie? How do you have time to do anything?
I'm not
That's the
sure
first question.
You don't know how it happens. That's how you got 5.
My dad always says, "Don't they know what causes that?"
Right.
Go ahead and talk about your kids. That's all right.
Do you know what causes that? No. Could we have diagrams or right here in the produce section? Go ahead.
A little education would have helped there.
Right. Yeah.
Stonie, tell us about your history of writing comics.
That's going to be quick because there is none.
No, that's all right. That's good.
Yeah, I ran a comic book review and podcast and blog for a little while with my best friend Aaron, and we got indie publishers contacting us a lot to review their comic books, and we always said yes because reviewers love free comic books. And Mad Cave approached us about reviewing some of their comic books. They were just about to announce a new one, and that's how I found out about their talent hunt. And I mean, I grew up in a comic book store. I grew up around comic book writers, and it was always something that was in the back of my head. And then Top Cow started doing their talent hunt, which I did submit in 2016, I think it was. And learning the process of making comics and the differences in writers' scripts and things, I just really fell in love with. So when I found this other talent hunt, it became all I could talk about and all of these ideas I had and what I would do. And my wife was finally like, this is clearly something you want to do. Quit talking about it and just do it. And so I did. I wrote, I think it was my 3rd and 4th script, submitted it, and a couple weeks later I got an email.
So this is, you say that you got in on that, like there was a contest or they were soliciting for scripts. Is that correct?
Yeah. Every year they do a talent hunt, and they get 4 artists and 4 writers.
Cool.
And actually they just announced today, I think it's October 3rd, they're announcing the next round of talent hunt winners.
Very interesting. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Mad Cat here in a minute, but first I want to talk about how did you come up with the idea for Villainous?
It was initially a pitch they brought to me. It was very simple, something along the lines of this group of supervillains hunts down the real bad guys, the superheroes, and that was it. And so they kind of let me come up with the rest. And we threw around some ideas and talked about it. And the first and foremost, I said, what age range are we looking at here? Specifically, I need to know how many F-bombs I'm allowed to use.
Right.
And then we went from there. I wanted to make this my love letter to superheroes. I mean, I grew up with superheroes, being around a comic book store and everything. And then just being a kid in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, there was superheroes was everywhere. And so it's funny because when I started looking into writing and stuff, everybody said, don't do superheroes. You'll never have your superhero on a lunchbox. It'll never, that market is cornered. And then when Mad Cave approached me with this idea, I thought I could actually do something with it if I made it my love letter to the superhero genre and made it something that I could celebrate the things that I loved about the genre while, turning an eye on and poking fun at the things we don't always love about the superhero genre. And I thought if I could make it that, then it's not, I'm not trying to be the next Superman or the next Spider-Man, so.
Hey, I'm going to show a few pictures of your comic just so people can get an idea what it looks like. And anyone is welcome to comment as I show these things, and I'll maybe ask a few questions. Just chime in wherever you want. Here is the cover. It's signed Jeff. I cannot pronounce the last name of your artist. Do you want to take a shot at that, or you want to stay away from it?
It's Jeff Zardinsky.
Okay, very good. Some people listen. Sometimes people are like, just read the name. I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
So Stonie, did they pair you with this artist? Like you had no choice in it, or did they give you like a choice of like, hey, we got these three artists. Which one do you like the best?
Mine is actually kind of a funny story. So, like I told you, they had 4 artists and 4 writers, and they normally pair those people up. I was actually a last-minute addition to the talent hunt. I was the 5th writer.
Oh, wow.
And so they didn't have an artist to pair me with at first. They did find one, and they handled all of that on that end. And some scheduling issues happened, and we had to move on from there. So that kind of delayed the book a little bit. I was actually a 2018 winner, but my book is just now coming out because we had some delay issues. But Jeff was actually on one of the other talent hunts from the same year, Show's End, and he was the artist for Show's End, and they loved his work, and it really did well, and they knew they couldn't let him go, so they grabbed him for mine, and I'm so glad they did. Like,
that's
everybody
really cool.
loves his artwork. He really nailed some of these characters and their expressions, and I think he took what I gave him on the page and elevated it. So
Marianne says that the cover is nice.
As Dirk shows some more artwork, you have more artwork? Dirk?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead and
I do.
I can only imagine, since I try to do art, being a writer who, a lot of times as pencilers, we complain like when somebody inks it and we go like, well, my pencils look different than the final product, or look better, or maybe it looked worse, And so as a writer, sometimes I bet you fear like, what if you had like, my kid, the company's kid drawing your book, and you got a fantastic artist. I mean, this guy fills the backgrounds. He has some storytelling.
Yeah, this is good work.
This is really good work. And
by the way, I read the comic too, and I can say that the colorist is really gifted too. Let's give the due to the colorist who really brings out the best in this the pencils and the inks on this stuff.
Joanna LaFuente is the colorist, and she's amazing. I really love her stuff.
She elevates everything she touches.
Absolutely. I was a little apprehensive at first when they started pairing me with an artist, especially when you don't know what that's going to look like. And
sure.
I was 100% ready to be, go team no matter what. But there is that fear in the back of your head is, what if I don't like it? What if it doesn't match what I've got in my head? And what if I don't jive with this style?
It's gotta be tough.
And so many comics, let's face facts, they go through the eye test, right? At least when you first go to the comic shop, you pick up a book, you flip through it, and if the art is if it doesn't really fit your stuff, you put it back on the shelf and you might pick up another issue of something. So I can only imagine like the struggles of maybe a writer who's a great writer, but maybe is paired with artists that just don't fit their style. I talked many, many episodes ago, like the Bass Reeves comic that I read. Like, I like the artist, I like the writer, but together I don't think they make a good,
Sure.
they're not the Reese's peanut butter cup perfect match. They both are good separately, but maybe
Sure.
not together. And so I think, like, man, if I saw something like this in the independent section at my comic store, it'd tempt me to buy it, which means then I read the story and go, holy hell, this Stonie Williams guy's really good. And then usually what I see at comic shops is people pick up by artists.
Mm-hmm.
They read something and then they start following a book. Like, Donny Cates now is writing. He's going to write, Groot. I'm going to pick it up no matter what. I don't care who's drawing it at this point because they start following the writer. So I think that's really awesome for you. So I'm happy for you.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely lucked out with Jeff. And because of the delay with the book and everything, we were very disconnected, and I didn't have a whole lot to do with him. And not that I avoided him or anything, but the Man Cave handled that end. So
that's nice.
I wasn't sure, what it was going to look like and what it came out with. But so like I said, I really lucked out because he got it. Like, he really understood these characters, and some of the, like I said, the expressions just floor me. And
She says, talk about the incidental background characters in Jeff's art.
So I gave Jeff a lot of leeway with background stuff. The some of the early pages have got characters in the background, and I said, because they're in the superheroes headquarters, and I said, this would be a cool place to add some people in the background, some characters walking by or whatever, and maybe if we want to do some kind of Easter egg here would be really cool, and just left it at that. And he ran with it. He made some incredible looking characters, really interesting people, to the point that when my kids read the book, they were like, who is this? Who's this character in the background?
They want to know.
I had no idea. I was like, that's completely Jeff. We're going to end up with a spin-off series just based on Jeff's
well, that's good.
Background characters, because people seem to love him so much.
So
Marianne says art and color looks great.
I got more questions if I'm allowed.
Both Shawn, if you want to, whatever.
I know, like, currently we're working on a project for a friend, and Dirk's
talk about that.
Well, we all had a part in it, but what I guess I'm trying to say is like, right now we are creating a story, I guess, in the, Shawn, wouldn't you say the old-fashioned how to write comics the Marvel way, where we're drawing this stuff and we're not 100% sure of the dialogue. So I was curious, how much do you give
kind of the Marvel method? Yeah,
the Marvel method. I'm asking you, what is your approach to writing? Do you write the full script and you say bird's eye angle and all this stuff? Do you get what I'm asking?
Absolutely, yeah. I did a full script. I've already laid out the dialogue and everything, but I try to make sure that the artist knows, no matter who it is, that these are all suggestions. That I'm not the visual guy, and I understand that. And so if any visual changes need to be made, this isn't set in stone, right? And so that we can always go back later and change stuff, dialogue, or adjust things later if we need to. But I do map it all out, camera angles, and exactly what I see in my head, I put on the script so that they have as much information to work with as possible.
Cool. I mean, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, is it Neil Gaiman that kind of draws suggested thumbnails? Or is that somebody? Alan Moore? Okay.
Alan Moore does, yeah. Alan Moore will almost draw the comic on his own.
Well,
and he is super, super picky about, you better do it exactly, precisely his way. But there's a reason for it. I mean, if he says specifically, this person needs to be in this frame, and this clock needs to be in the corner,
sure,
that's going to come up again in issue 8, and you better have it correct, or it's not going to play right. So that Alan Moore is definitely, although Gaiman does do some artwork too. Yeah, he's been known to do some stuff in the margin.
I think it's good to get that, so at least the artist knows where you're coming from to maybe translate, and then you can work together by like saying, hey, here's my layouts, I drew it different, and you go like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Cool, let's go, or whatever. So
I did that once. I had a real complicated page I wasn't sure was going to work. I felt I had a lot of panels, and so I sat down and I plotted it all out, and then I looked at it and went, okay, this will work, but this looks terrible, and immediately destroyed it. But I did do that once. And have you guys ever seen the actual scripts from people like Gaiman and Moore? And examples
some scripts. I've seen some stuff, and I've read a lot of books on the subject.
Yeah,
Know,
it fascinates me how
it shows sample
different
script.
people write into the different scripts. I mean, the script I saw from Alan Moore, I think, was in all capital letters, while Neil Gaiman's was almost a conversation with the artist instead of
right.
He was more telling the artist a story rather than writing the script. And that's part of what I fell in love was the process of making comics, but just the scripting as well.
That's good, Marianne. That's what we hope all of these things do, is maybe inspire some people to do their own stuff. Let's talk a little bit about Mad Cave. Do you know, do they publish something that maybe we have heard of before? What's their biggest title?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I haven't heard of them until this. But, Stonie, I heard of this before we ever had you plan to be a guest.
Really?
So that's good.
Where did you hear about it? Do you remember?
It might have been on one of the Oklahoma Facebook groups or something like that.
Okay.
But the art popped, and I remember that artwork for sure. So
yeah,
let's talk about Mad Cave a little bit, please.
That's right. I couldn't remember what your question was.
That's all right.
Their biggest title at first was Battle Cats, and it's kind of a Thundercats meets D&D kind of thing.
Okay.
And then they did Midnight Task Force, which was a cyberpunk style comic book.
I like that.
Knights of the Golden Sun was about a war with angels, and that's been really popular.
Wow, that sounds
Honor and
right
Curse
up my alley.
Honor and Curse was a samurai story, and since then they've done Woven Heart, which was a time travel book, and then you've got some of the Talent Hunt winners, which are doing even better. Like, I mean, Over the Ropes by Jay Sandlin.
Yeah, that's like looks like a wrestling comic book.
It is, and it's like I think it's set in the 90s, and it's really, really cool. I really loved every issue of that, which surprised me because I'm not a wrestling guy, and so when I saw that they were doing a wrestling,
okay, you're gonna have to leave this podcast, sir.
Like the last time I watched wrestling was with my grandpa when Hulk Hogan was still wrestling. You know, like tearing his yellow shirt and stuff.
I'll let you stay for a little bit longer.
It did really well. Savage Bastards by David Galliano is a kind of a supernatural western, and it's one of my favorites. Show's End was a supernatural circus kind of a thriller that did really, really well, and like I said, Jeff was on that. Coming out next, actually tomorrow, Dryfoot by Jared is it's about a group of kids in Miami that decide to steal from the local cartel, and it's kind of a coming of age book.
Yeah, do not do this at home.
Right. Yeah, and so they've got some really great books coming out from these Talent Hunt winners that I'm just really excited about.
Hey, Stonie, can I say something?
Sure.
A lot of times when I ask that sort of question, I mean, we didn't prep you for this. When I ask a kind of a global question about, hey, tell me a little bit about Mad Cave, a lot of people would have maybe given me one title, and they probably would have screwed up the name of the title. You gave me a great rundown of all their stuff. They should be very happy with your Skittles.
Well, I am just a big fan of these Talent Hunt winners. I mean, all of them so far, but especially the guys that I've known for 2 years now. That back in 2018, we won together, and we've all of us have, at least from one level to another, have become really good friends. And so I'm really big fans of these guys. And Mad Cave gave me my first break, so I'll always be a fan of theirs, right?
And listen, you gotta push the company. It's so important. People don't get it, obviously you want people to pick up Villainous and you want them to love it, but push if it's not DC or Marvel, they need some help. So, good for you for pushing the company. That's a good deal. And when they see this, they should appreciate how you went to bat for them. I think that's really awesome. We have a link to your comic on there. Speaking of Mad Cave Studios, you can see that it's available at Mad Cave Studios /product/Villainous1. That's the first issue. Can you talk a little bit about, a lot of stuff that's coming out right now goes to Kickstarter first, or some other method. This is legitimately going right straight to your local comic store, correct? or to digital. You say digital, does that mean Comixology?
Comixology, yeah.
I mean, that's legit as it gets.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about maybe the difference there of doing that versus having to, fundraise for your comic?
I think it shows that Mad Cave has really invested in us as writers and artists and indie creators, and these are stories that they believe in, and it's taken some coaching, right? They pair us with editors, and they help us craft these stories into something that people can read and are legible, but they could take it to Kickstarter, right? They could make the fans decide whether or not it's going to be a book, but they believed in these stories enough to invest in it and go all in and actually make these a reality and put them in stores. And I think that speaks a lot to Mad Cave as a publisher and to the people that they're choosing to win these talent hunts.
Right. Ken says they should pay you as a spokesperson.
Stonie, is this distributed through Diamond Comics?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. I was just double checking on this. So,
and what's the date that it comes out?
First issue comes out October 14th, and the second issue will be November 11th.
Shawn, do you have anything you want to ask or anything? Are you good? Something you want to say?
I'm good.
All right.
I was flipping through the PDF that he had that Stonie.
Yeah, we got a preview.
That's beautiful. The artwork and everything is really good. I haven't had a chance to actually read it, but visually,
I read it.
It looks fantastic.
I read it and I liked it. I particularly like the.
Do you know how they did the colors? By any chance?
I don't. I'm going to assume digitally, but I don't know that for sure.
Because it looks like they were markers or something. The way the colors bleed together and whatnot. I was just curious. It looks really, really nice. It's got a good feel to it. It's got a good look about the characters and whatnot. It's a good looking book.
And this is your first book, Stonie?
Yeah.
I mean, most people for their first book don't get a really top-notch professional-looking book. So congrats on that.
I know. Like, I can't say enough how lucky I am. So
yeah, that's really cool, man.
What's your advice to people who want to get into the industry? I mean, you kind of just got into the industry. So what did you do right that other people should be looking to do right now?
First, research. Learn what they expect of you, what the editor expects from you, what the artist will expect from you. You can't do enough research. You will always continue to be learning even after you start. But then the most important thing is to do the thing. Like, I mean, I have half a dozen, half-started scripts, but you've got to finish it, and then you can put it out there. Then you can kickstart it yourself, which I'm sure I intend to do at some point, is kickstart my own comics. But if you're going to submit to an editor or to a talent hunt, finish the thing, complete the project, and you'll learn the most from that. Not finishing it and not being able to do it, you don't learn anything. Even if you fail, you learn something from it, and you'll get better next time. And so do the research and then complete the project. Do the thing.
Yeah. Amen on that.
It sounds so simple, but that's so true. No. You got to do the thing. If you don't put in the work, then it just doesn't matter. And completed stuff is important. A lot of people are working on stuff forever.
And that can be the hardest part, is just finishing it and
just getting it done and go ahead and it's an ugly baby, just put it out there and let's see what's happened.
Yeah, you can edit a page you've done, but a blank page you can't edit. So
yeah. I'm looking at Diamond right now. So if you're out there and you're watching us and you don't want to order from their website, tell your local comic store that you can get this through Diamond Comics and you'd like to order these right away. So
absolutely. And if your comic book store has any problem, they can contact Mad Cave Studios, and Mad Cave will hook them up.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
They're really, really good with local comic book stores. So
Ken says it has an image look. That's not a bad thing.
No, not at all.
Marion says she needs to get on her personal project. That's exactly what we're talking about. There it is. We said that in the bio. We said that in the bio.
Yeah, first growth.
Man, everybody acts like you're like the comic store Jesus, where like you were born in a comic box.
In comic book Bethlehem.
Yeah, and Robert Overstreet came and gave you a gift. He's like, here, take this Archie 41.
Wow.
I like it though.
There you go. Caitlin says Stonie has the best advice. I know this by heart.
That would be my little sister.
Murphy says Ugly Baby Comics.
He's in.
He's in on that.
All right, we just started a new idea.
There you go.
And Kennedy says, well done, Stonie. Look forward to seeing the book.
Thank you so much.
It looks good. You won't be disappointed. One thing I wanted to say is I really like the main character. I thought she was, cool and very relatable. And I think you did a good little a cliffhanger at the end.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah.
Little cliffhanger there at the end. How many comics you said that this is old news to you? It's new news to everyone else. How many issues do you have in the can?
5. We've got 5 issues.
That's impressive.
I
guarantee you
for the next ones, and yeah.
There are comics at Marvel and DC that would love to have 5 in the can.
Now, is this just going to be an ongoing series, or do you have like an end date or an end moment?
So the original series is just going to be 5 issues, and then we'll go from there. I think I left it open enough that we could continue with the story while still giving people an ending they could be happy with. I like endings, and I like being able to be satisfied when something's over. But there are enough strings we could pull if it does well and people want more.
It looks like, correct me if I'm wrong, looks like Mad Cave Comics does a lot of story arcs, puts them in trade paperbacks, and obviously if there's demand there, they do another volume and so on and so on. So That's what I was noticing. And I did see Battle Cats #1. I don't know where, but somewhere I recognize that.
I remember that too. I recognize it too.
I don't have the link handy, but I think somewhere on the Mad Cave website, they have some of their first issues for free that you can read on the website. So...
I hate reading comics digitally. I know I sound like an old man, but I am an old man, and I love the floppy and the smell and everything else.
I prefer the physical too, but it really starts to stack up, especially when you've got a wife and 5 kids.
Oh, for sure.
And the Backstreet Boys reunion tour.
Exactly. Yeah.
People who don't want to go to a comic book store, at least they can get it. But if you can make it to a local comic book store, then do it. They need your help.
For sure.
All right, we've got one. We're going to do this quickly because I got to get to this. This is mostly for me.
All right. So this is going to be like your favorite pizza?
It's going to be, here's my favorite pizza, guys. All right, the Venture Brothers is canceled.
Really?
The creator of the long-running Adult Swim cartoon series, the Venture Brothers, confirmed that the series has been canceled and that its season 7 season finale is now the series finale of the show. Christopher McCulloch, also known as Jackson Public, tweeted out a confirmation of the show's fate on his personal Twitter account on Labor Day evening, noting, "Unfortunately, it's true. Venture Brothers has been canceled. We got the highly disappointing news a few months ago while we were writing what would have been season 8. We thank you, our amazing fans, for 14 years of your kind and patient attention. And as always, we love you." Who here has seen the Venture Brothers? A show of hands. Okay. Let's just first.
Stonie looks away.
Sorry, Stonie.
That's all right.
We'll be quick on this, I promise.
They haven't made that many seasons, Stonie, even though they have not for 17 years.
17 years, 7 seasons.
I read that one of the creators said something about it being almost old enough to vote. Yeah.
I mean,
Scott, I'm going to go to you first, man.
Yeah,
let me talk a bit about the Venture Brothers.
I mean, I remember seeing the first 2 seasons of the Venture Brothers. They were great. They're awesome. The whole story is like, what if Johnny Quest grows up and he's kind of a failure. He's not so great, and yet they have all these tropes and these odes to there's like a Doctor Strange character in there. There's this and that. It's great. It really is great. Somewhere along the way, I stopped watching it, and I always wondered why. Well, now I know why, because reading this article reminded me, I thought wasn't this out right after I got out of college? And Yeah, it was. I mean, 17 years and we got 7 seasons, and then like 4 happened during the first 6 years. And then so for the last 11 years, he crapped out a few more. I mean, maybe this is his fault. I don't know. Maybe he has other projects he's working on, and it doesn't matter. But maybe Cartoon Network got like tired of it, or other people also started like they just lost touch with it. So when you lose touch with it, you kind of forget about it. You start watching something else, and you move on. You start watching a regular show or Adventure Time, and next thing you know, you go, oh, I forgot they were even doing Venture Brothers. So it's not a shocker. Now, what I think will happen, I think somebody else will pick this up.
Yep.
There's too many streaming services that will go, hey, Mr. Public, you can take 3 years and give us 5 episodes.
They're dying for content.
For sure. So I do not think Venture Brothers has gone away. Wow, that cat hates he hates Mr. Venture. I think it'll come back in some form eventually, and it might be 5 episodes at a time or smaller seasons, but it's really good stuff. I mean, like if you grew up like we did, you will love this stuff. It's just like, but I can't blame Cartoon Network for finally saying we're tired of you. I doubt Cartoon Network's the one that's like holding them back. Like, please slow down, take your time.
Right.
So that's mine.
All right, Shawn, we're going to you.
I believe this is all due to come here. Jeez Louise. I believe this is due to AT&T.
Oh, it's a victim of AT&T?
It could be. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, this is all a Time Warner thing, I believe. So I think that it is because it was so sporadic. I mean, it took a break, if I remember, 3 or 4 years at one point. I don't remember what season that was, but I know that like they ended on season 3, they waited 2 or 3 years and then picked up on season 7 as if nothing had ever happened. But it was
Griffin is Murphy's dog.
It was a great show whenever it was going, and then it had that break. That's whenever I kind of fell out. Whenever it came back, I'd lost touch at that point, so I wasn't I didn't pick up the newer seasons. But when it first started, it was, like Scott said, it was absolutely fantastic. It was a great parody on a lot of the Marvel universe, the Johnny Quest, obviously. I believe Johnny Quest like character shows up, in one of the seasons. It was a fun show, and I believe that it being cut was more a corporate thing. I've heard talk about it being possibly moving from Adult Swim to HBO Max. So obviously that's gonna give it a bit more traction and a bit more budget, I guess, to continue and so on. So I'm not too worried about it at this point. I think this is not the end. This is just going to be a transition.
I'm a huge fan of Venture Brothers. That's why I brought this up. I think they have the definitive parody of the Fantastic Four in that first couple of seasons. If you haven't seen it, and you are a fan of the Fantastic Four, I think it's really brilliant. One of the things that I think that they really missed on when they were doing the Fantastic Four movie is kind of some of the fun that they had on the Venture Brothers. The Venture Brothers, besides the Fantastic Four stuff, they also, put everything in there, which is exactly like the Fantastic Four comic. So there's magic in it, there's science fiction in it, There's alternate worlds. There's all these weird people in it. All these strange plot lines. I mean, long before Rick and Morty, there was the Venture Brothers, and it was making fun, or lovingly made fun of all of the old cartoons and comics, and later on got highly convoluted, but was always very funny. I mean, it's legitimately a funny show, and it's legitimately something that is its own entity. And I think it's a shame that they're going to cancel it. I think several of you have mentioned that maybe it will find a home someplace else, and I think that's if they want it, if they want to do this, it's an established entity. It may find another season or two someplace else. And I think it's interesting because if it was 20 years ago, we might not have ever heard that it was canceled. The reason why we know it's canceled is because someone put something out, just kind of almost like a joke, on their Twitter feed, and someone picked up on it that didn't know about it or whatever, and said, is this, it's canceled, is that true? And then the creator chimed in and said, yeah, it's been canceled. And so that's how we know about this. It's really through Twitter that we know. And I think that's kind of an interesting situation.
Yeah, but 20 years ago, or let's say 1990, in the 90s, they're not going to let Seinfeld run for 17 years and only give you 6 seasons. So, I mean, like,
right,
all of this is different. So,
right.
Adult Swim tweeted about it. Have you seen this?
No, what they say?
Adult Swim official account on Twitter said, we also want more Venture Brothers, and I've been working with Jackson and Dot to find another way to continue the Venture Brothers story. So I think you're right. This will absolutely live on in some form or another.
There's so many places that you could put this thing.
Sure. And they want people
along with the catalog of the old stuff.
They want people to go over to HBO Max anyways. I mean, through this article I read
that's the
Adventure Time's over there and stuff like that as well. So,
yep, that's a good point. All right, we're moving on to the next thing.
All right,
maybe
if you hit the button.
Yeah,
it's over there. The other one.
It's on Blast, where we talk about some of the stuff that we've been watching or consuming or whatever lately. And for that first, I'm going to go to Shawn.
Finished. Thank you. Finished The Boys season 1 and started season 2. If you haven't watched it or haven't tried it yet, I do recommend it. Everybody in the cast, all the characters, the story, it's definitely a more mature, more adult take on the superhero world, and it's a lot of fun. With that, also, I forced Dirk to watch a horror movie the other day. One that I had seen, I actually have in my particular library, called The Collector, which if you've never seen The Collector, again, I highly recommend this movie. It's a which Dirk can go into greater detail, not having seen it prior. It's a great story, great acting, lots of twists that I don't think anybody would expect. Give it a try. And that's pretty much all I've been taking in.
All right, that's good. Stonie, you're up next.
We just started Motherland. We just finished Cursed. Before that was Umbrella Academy.
What do you think about Motherland? Because I haven't heard much about that.
We're not very far into it. We're in the I don't want to say like third or fourth episode, and my wife and kids love it. It's a bit teenage angsty for me.
Right. It looks like that.
But it's good, and it's got good parts to it, and it's got solid acting. I'm struggling to care, and but like I said, my wife and kids love it, and they're eating it up. And
all right,
we really enjoyed Cursed, which was the Arthurian legend focused around Nimue. Just finished Umbrella Academy, which was amazing. I can't get enough of that.
Yeah, I'm eager for that next season. Eager for that next season.
That's cool. Scott, you're up next.
All right. First, I'm going to give you something I just finished up. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 2. So this was like, I think like issue 13 through like 24, 25. Has a great cliffhanger ending. Tom Waltz, who's writing this, is really good. Great suggestion by Joe Roberts, a past guest that was on one of the early episodes of Taskforce Geek.
Yeah.
So I've already ordered Volume 3. So like I'm probably going to slowly work way through the 100+ issues. Stoney, you must read Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because you.
I love me some turtles.
All right. Well, one of our guests suggested it, and he told me to get the 3rd volume. Like if I only had to read one story, and then I went ahead and started with Volume 1. So there's another book that I just read today, and I left a copy at work. It's called, and I hate that the title's so long. It's called "We Only Find Them When They're Dead." It's a comic by Al Ewing, and I think it's Simone DeMeo does the art. I'm planning, if I can find the time, to do a prime review of that comic, so I'll talk more in detail about that later. But I read it, and more to come, hopefully. And then I had to do this, like I'm a real sucker when I go to the grocery store. Like
Is that cereal?
I'm the guy that misses like Toys R Us, maybe more than my children. So this is the Mandalorian cereal. And it suckers you in because your kids go, "Oh, Dad, it's Baby Yoda." And you're like, "Well, I'm chubby and I like cereal and I could eat this all night, right? And this has 2 bags." Well, you know what this is? This is just Kick cereal. It's crappy Kick cereal with a couple of marshmallows.
Wait a minute.
What?
Wait a minute, Scott. This is the way.
Oh, get out of here. This is, you're going to eat it because it's cereal and you're chubby and it's a good late night snack. But you're not probably ever going to buy another box of this unless it's at the discount store for like half price. So,
it's not even made with real Baby Yodas or anything? Like
no Yoda flesh. I'm telling you, these little puffs, these are just Kicks. Kicks is a crappy cereal. It's crappy. And if you think it's going to be better with marshmallows, it's like slightly better with marshmallows. Okay? I'm still going to eat it. I'll finish it because I bought a big old damn box of it. But it's
got 2 bags.
It should be called the Mandalorian. It should be called Kicks with Baby Yoda marshmallows. That's what it should be called. Not the Mandalorian cereal. Screw this. I'm out.
Might I suggest that if Star Wars puts their name on a box of cereal,
I have to try it, Sean.
Just stay away.
Sean, I have to try it.
Because if I remember right, there were C-3POs, and those were terrible.
I had to try it. Recently, I've been on this kick of I tried Nutter Butter cereal. It was really good. Look at that.
At night too. The Revenge.
I tried Nutter Butter cereal recently, and it was pretty good. It was like a better peanut butter Captain Crunch. And then I got some Twinkie cereal, and it was so awful.
Cereal?
It was terrible.
That sounds terrible.
It was awful.
Disgusting.
We all tried a little bit, and we said nope, and we didn't even try it with milk and threw it away. It was awful.
Jesus, dude.
So that's why I was at the discount store.
Dude,
this is my favorite cereal themed rant I think I've ever heard in my life. This was beautiful. Thank you.
I never even heard of Twinkie cereal. Jeez, that just sounds disgusting.
No,
well, that's why I was at the discount store for like $1, and I was like, I have to try this, and it was awful, man. I mean,
Scott is on the bleeding edge of crappy cereal. All right, so I watched The Collector. I really did enjoy that, by the way. That was actually, it's one of my favorite films. I really enjoyed it. It's one of those kind of small budget. It's not really a horror film. What do you call it? A thriller,
right.
Something like that. It has some, it has some tense moments, if you want to call that horror. But it's a small film, very clever. The main character I sided with right off the bat, which is good. I told Shawn, this is a case where, I know where they're going with this. I know that it's going to get kind of wacky and full of, horror and all that sort of stuff. But, dude, what are you doing?
I got breaking news. You ready for this?
Oh my Lord. I'm in the middle of something.
Serious. This is really serious.
He's waving his hands frenetically.
I want to break it on Taskforce Geek. Whoever's watching this, Adrian Wiskowski or whatever his name is from ESPN. ESPN sources say Oklahoma City coach Billy Donovan, we're all from Oklahoma, we're all Thunder fans, won't be returning to the Thunder next season.
Wow.
Donovan's contract expired at season's end, and the sides have decided against pursuing an extension.
Wow.
So that is breaking news.
I think I called that.
You
Anyways.
did, and we've talked about that. And at the first of the season, I would have probably, been very, very happy about that. But
Coach
after
of the
this
year,
last season,
no job.
yeah, after that, after the last season, I kind of thought he did a pretty good job. So anyway, I guess we'll see what happens.
Somebody just sent me that info, so I had to get it out because I know
All right.
I know Shawn and Dirk watch a lot of Thunder. So.
Breaking news: Jerry likes the serial themed rant. What is Michael Chiklis? Did I miss something?
Murphy said when Scott gets real close to the camera and gets worked up, he reminds.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. Sorry, I missed the lead there. When Scott gets really close to the camera, he reminds me of Michael Chiklis. Wow.
Well, he was a handsome man. Isn't he dead though?
No.
I thought he died.
No.
Can I do my on blast, please?
Yes. You're talking about the collector, guy who
So
collects.
anyway, the collector was really good, and apparently the sequel is as good, or almost as good, or maybe better than the first one. So I'm definitely interested in seeing that. We also watched another movie. Sean, help me out. What was it? Was it called Southbound?
Southbound.
Which was an anthology horror film. And I enjoyed that too. It wasn't as good as the Collector. Collector's was really good. I mean, it really gets you wound up in the movie. I was pretty spellbound with the Collector. A real kind of Oh, here we go. Now we're doing an NBA video. It's Chris Paul next. I would say maybe I don't know. We're still in it. We're still in the rebuilding phase. That's all I got to say. Also, my thing that I was going to talk about was Color with Kurt, which is a YouTube series done by a guy who colors comics. And for those of you who are interested in coloring comics, or you're just interested in the method of coloring comics, this guy is a comic book professional. He's also doing tutorials and stuff. But if you just want to see what he does and you want to follow along with it, he is really incredible. He's giving away, as I say, millions of dollars of advice for free on YouTube. And you can check it out at youtube.com/c/color with Kurt. That's that's Kurt. Let's get it right.
Are you talking about Kurt Michael Russell?
I'm not sure what his last name is.
I think that's him.
I have to be honest.
I've taken a couple of his classes. I follow him on YouTube.
Oh.
He is brilliant.
He's a colorist, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be the same guy.
I started learning how to color comic books, and I'm not going to say I'm any good yet, but learning how has been a lot of fun. And Kurt is just phenomenal, and he's brilliant. He's doing lots of stuff for Vault right now. Money Shot, I think, is this big one he's working on.
Okay, that's him. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, and he does live
Money
streams
Shot's
all
pretty
the
cool.
time. It is.
By the way,
and
since we're on blast, let's give it to Money Shot. Not
he
for
talks
kids.
about coloring.
Not for
while he
kids.
does his, no, not for kids. While he streams and colors, he talks and answers questions, and he's got a really good community around him too. It's a lot of fun just hang out and chat. So yeah, I can't say enough good nice things about Kurt. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Stonie, real quick, since I forgot to ask this when we were talking to you about your comics and writing, what's some writers that you pick up no matter what comic book, since you grew up in the comic store and everything else?
So
Like,
first and
who's your
foremost,
hot writers right now?
first and foremost, I have to talk about R.A. Jones and Michael Vance, who are two Oklahoma-based writers.
Yeah.
R.A. worked at Starbase 21. They were some of the set the standard for superheroes for me when I was a kid. R.A. did.
Was R.A. Jones Scimitar?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
He did the Ferret and the Protectors when I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember those. Those were awesome.
Yeah. Currently, really into indie comic books. All the guys from Mad Cave, like I said, Jay Sandlin, David Galliano, Anthony Cleveland. We got, but then outside of that, you got the big names right now that are really cool and a lot of fun to read, like Donnie Cates. Can't get enough of his stuff. I'm blanking on names, but just about anybody in
all right.
Vault or Scout Comics right now. They're killing it over there.
Okay.
Both of those publishers.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was just curious. So
Sure.
I'm always curious who. I know I pick up a lot of stuff based off art and writers, but like I'm always curious what the writers go pick up from other writers. So
Right. All right. Hey, it's promo time. So for that, we're going to first go to our guest, Stonie. Just tell us a little bit about where people can go to find you and find your work.
Yeah, so I go by Bald Bearded Bard, all one word, across social media. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Bald Bearded Bard, that's me.
Cool.
Mad Keep Studios is the place to go for all things villainous right now. They're going to be doing a showcase in October. And they did this big, almost mini convention kind of thing where they stream it all for free. And they talk to, so they'll announce the new talent hunt winners. They'll talk to some of the old ones, announce some of the new books. They're not only have talent hunt winners, but they're also starting to branch out and bring in other creators like Christopher Sabella has got a book coming out. And they mentioned some others just earlier today, and I can't remember who it is now, but October 3rd is when they're going to be talking about that stuff. And I've got a couple of things that might come out from them within the next month too. So cool stuff.
Cool. Very cool. We have your link directly to your comic on there. People should follow that and check it out, or go to your local comic store and say, order this for me. That would be really cool too. All right. We're going to Shawn.
Nothing really to promote at this time. I'm still plugging away at a handful of pieces that I've started, that I'm developing. But eventually they'll be up on our website, rankingstudios.com, and probably also on our Facebook page, Facebook Ranking Studios. Give them a look, and both the website and the Facebook page, constantly putting stuff up on the Facebook page, and let us know what you think of them.
Yeah, from all four of us in Ranking Studios. So that includes Shawn and Scott and me and Robert, who was on our first episode, and we are probably going to have back on the show here very soon. Right? Scott, you're up.
all right, you can catch me over at
Party time.
Party Time, Scott Prime. You can catch me at bothdown.com. You can catch me sometimes on Twitter at Scott Prime. And you can also catch me on Facebook if you really, really have to get a hold of me. Currently,
It's
really
an emergency.
right. I prefer you just get a hold of us at bothdownpodcast@gmail.com if you want to talk to me and go further from there. But yeah, you can go look at the many, over 100 episodes over on iTunes or through our website if you're interested in Both Down in the game called Blood Bowl. And currently, I would say I'm not taking commissions at this moment because I'm just really busy with other stuff. The commission bucket is full, so to speak. So, but money talks. So if you've really got a lot of money and you want me to do something for you,
Right, if you have millions of dollars.
I might bump you up. $1 Million Man taught me one thing a long time ago, and that's everybody has a price. And I definitely do because I have children to feed. So
Wow. $1 Million Man reference. Let's see. I guess that's me. I'm next.
That's you, Dirk.
I'd say I am taking commissions right now. You can check me out over at let's see, where am I? Forget it. We can't find it. No, there it is. It's facebook.com/Dirk Hooper Artworks. I am taking commissions right now. I have cleared out a lot here in the last basically 2 weeks. I've done pretty good on that, and I'm closing in on getting completed with the last 2 or 3 projects that I have. I do have a bigger project that I'm working on, but that doesn't mean I can't take commissions. So drop by over there, or you can check out my stuff also on the Taskforce Geek Facebook group or on the ranking stuff. We're all in that together.
for sure.
So there's that. All right. Does anyone have anything they want to add to this before we wrap this up?
I gotta ask: is there a story behind Party Time, or
No, I
Please
this
don't ask
last-
that.
The last 3 episodes, I've just changed my, my nickname at the front of it. So
His nom de plume.
see, you're using words I don't. Isn't that like
I did that specifically to piss you off.
Isn't that pirate gold, a doubloon?
It's the balloons.
Doubloons. There you go.
Doubloons.
No, there is no. I'm just being goofy. Stonie, I'm just trying to get people laugh and not take life serious. I made Shawn laugh, so therefore it worked, right? Here we are. Shawn's happy.
Ronnie wants to know when Fat Justice and Ostrich Boy are going out on patrol. He's been jonesing to fight some crimes.
It's Big Fat Justice, Ronnie, and more to come one day.
Because fat is not enough. It has to be big fat.
Well, the big lets you know that like he's serious. He's big. He's fat.
It's grim.
Justice.
Mike also wants to point out that R.A. and Michael are great writers and the nicest people. Mike has been at every convention in Oklahoma since the beginning of time.
just about?
Like
yeah.
the earth cooled and Mike started going to Oklahoma conventions.
Yeah.
That's your history lesson for today. Does anyone else have anything that they want to add before we bring it home?
Stonie, thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks so much for having me.
Keep us, in the loop on how things go, or when you want to talk about issue 2 or anything else. Just
For sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
Or feel
always
free
welcome
to
back. You
stop
did a
by
great
and
job.
Chime in.
Yeah, we appreciate you being on here. All right. If you're an artist or a comic artist or illustrator and you'd like someone to look at your portfolio, we still have one of these to do. And give you some of our thoughts. Shawn and I are ready to look at your work, and we might get someone else involved. Contact us at taskforcegeek@gmail.com if you're interested in having some artists look at your work. If you're Michael Golden, don't contact us because you're way too far advanced for us. We should be contacting you. You want to do a review on Michael Golden?
Yeah,
Bring it. Bring
Wow.
I'll
That's
join
how-
you.
that's how
I'll
we
join
are.
you then. I'll join you then.
You're going to join us for critiquing Michael Golden. So, Michael
Yes.
Golden, if you have the nerve, get in contact with us at taskforcegeek@gmail.com. We'd be glad to talk about your stuff lovingly.
Oh, yes.
Visit us at the Task Force Geek Quora space or at Task Force Geek on the Facebook group or our home at rankingstudios.com. Thanks to our panel for being here tonight. And thanks to everyone for watching this. Please leave a like and share wherever you see this. It makes a huge difference for Shawn, Scott, and Stonie. This is Dirk saying dream hard.
Subscribe to our channel.